So let's listen to this lo-fi sample, the sample that we've taken, turned it into lo-fi with a beat. Hi guys, SKETI here. Welcome back to a new tutorial. This time I've got something that's really cool to show you, and it's how to take pretty much any sample and make it lo-fi in Ableton Live 10.1 just using the tools that are in Ableton Live. And I'll be also making this into an effects rack and sharing it with you for free. That'll be down in the description at the end of the tutorial. Anyway, let's get to it. So basically what I've done is I've just gone on Splice and I've just grabbed this piano sample, and this is what it sounds like. Now, not something that would really be used in a lo-fi tune, but something that we can still work with, obviously with it being piano, and piano features a lot in lo-fi as well. The first thing we can do is I found this was a little bit too low when I was experimenting with it, so I'm just going to shift it up 12 semitones. And I've also set the warp mode to Complex Pro and set the formants down to this setting, but obviously for each sample that you use it'll be slightly different depending on what you're trying to achieve. So this is what this sample sounds like now. So now it's got some texture of lo-fi, but still there's too many top end frequencies and it just doesn't really have that lo-fi vibe that we're looking for. So what I've done here is I've set up a lo-fi effects chain, and I'm starting with the frequency shifter trick with the LFO attached to it, which I'm just going to turn on. And basically this LFO is controlling the fine pitch dial, and I've set the depth to 22% and obviously match it to the tempo as well, but it's going over a half beat of the bar, so we can listen to that now. So now it's starting to give that sort of like warped vinyl sound that if you left a vinyl next to a radiator or a hot place and it starts to warp, and then when you play it back it changes pitch. So that's what we've gone for with that effect. Next thing we've got is a saturator, just obviously with old vinyl records and that lo-fi kind of thing, there was a lot of sort of natural saturated distortion. So we can turn that on. I basically just use the soft sine setting, turn the drive up 5.71 decibels, turn the DC on just in case this original sample was just offset slightly. Turn the soft clip on, and then the dry wet down to 19.8%, and this is what it sounds like now. So not a massive difference, but just a little bit more harmonic grit in there. And then we come on to what really does start to shape the sound, and that's the EQ8. I've basically taken all of the bottom end out and all of the top end, so it's like that sort of old retro sounding through an old speaker, and then lifted some of the high mids at around 696 Hz. Now again, obviously this is going to taste to each sample that you use, so this is how it's worked for this piano, but if you're using it for, say, for a vocal, you're going to have a different obviously EQ setting. But this kind of ballpark is a good place to start, so we can listen to that now. That really starts to set the tone of that lo-fi sound that we're going for. The next thing is I've got an audio effect rack within the rack, and this is basically just a bit of bit reduction with the redo tool. And technically, obviously, with lo-fi being more vinyl, it's analog, there isn't any sort of like bit crushing or anything like that, but I quite like the sound of this, and I've basically double chained this, so it's going out in parallel. So I've got the chain without anything on it, just with the effects preceding it, and then the chain with the redo on it, but turned down slightly. And all I've done is basically set the bit reduction to 10 bits, and the down sample I've set to the soft setting and set it to 3.71, so this is what it sounds like now. Now with that fader there, level fader, I can set this to taste now, so if it's too strong or too quiet I can lift it or turn it down. Another EQ after that, just do a little bit more shaping. I found that if I took too much of the top end out, we'd lose all of the redo effect that we put in it. So again, these are the settings here, a little bit of a mid-raise at about 297 Hz, and a little bit of the high mids at 4.74 kHz as well. So let's listen to that now. So I found that was a way of keeping some of the redo in, but just taking some of the crisp top end off it, because obviously it's lo-fi, low fidelity, and it wouldn't have much top end in it. Next thing is vinyl distortion, and as you can hear, it just instantly turns on, because this is really for the crackle, with some slight distortion lift as well. Not much though, and we can listen to that now. And just to stop it from clipping, a glue compressor to finish off with the soft clip turned on, but nothing really else. It's just to stop it from going over basically. So we don't really need to listen to that. We can listen to that now with music, because it's obviously good to hear it with either a backing beat or some other parts with it. So let's listen to this lo-fi sample, the sample that we've taken, turned it into lo-fi with a beat. Anyway guys, I hope you found that tutorial useful. Remember, there'll be a link to that effects rack in the description, so you can check that out. But yeah, leave a comment, share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well if you want to see these videos more in the future. And I shall see you next time guys. Bye!
Everybody jump up, come on! Come on!